Good evening. Can I have your attention, please? Okay, everybody get seated. I want to thank you all for coming tonight on Art Walk Night. It's actually Candidate Forum Night that Art Walk is participating in. First of all, I want to start out by saying my name is Sandy Golding and I'm president of Beaches Watch. And if you don't know about Beaches Watch, we are a nonprofit, nonpartisan civic organization here at the beach. Our focus is Atlantic Beach, Neptune Beach, and Jacksonville Beach. And our goal is to educate and engage citizens in the issues that come before our elected officials, so that we can maintain the wonderful quality of life that we have here at the beach. And Beaches Watch has been around for 10 years now, so we're real thrilled with that milestone. And Mayor Harriet Pruitt was just recently honored with our Cultivator Award as part of our 10-year anniversary. And I also want you to join me in wishing Harriet a happy birthday tonight. When you spend your birthday in City Hall helping with the candidate forum. So anyway, that's Harriet though, right? So I want to thank you all for attending tonight's forum, and I also want to thank the candidates for being here as well. I want to remind everybody, Beaches Watch, being nonpartisan, we do not endorse candidates, but we do have these candidate forums so that we can help you guys learn about the candidates before you vote, and you can make an informed decision. I hope you picked up one of these agendas when you came in. There's some really good information on the agendas that we hope you'll take home with you. And I hope you will consider signing up for the Beaches Watch email list. We've got a list out at the table at the entrance when you came in. And also consider joining Beaches Watch, and you can talk to somebody out there after the forum tonight. Now, on the agendas, you'll notice that we have some information here. There's actually some additional information that you will find on our website after the forum tonight. On the back of the agenda are some questions that the candidates answered in writing. These questions these are a little more specific about specific issues, so we hope you'll find those very helpful as well. And then we're videotaping tonight, and so a video of this forum will also be on our website. And we hope that if you know someone who wasn't able to be here tonight, you can encourage them to go to our website and watch the video, and then they can make an informed decision as well. Now, as far as the format for tonight's forum, we are going to have 4 minutes for the candidates' opening statements and closing statements, and then all of the questions, they'll have 3 minutes. There will not be any time. Oh, I'm sorry, 5 minutes. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm sorry. 5 minutes for opening and closing, and 3 minutes for the questions. Apologize. And we have question cards out at the Beaches Watch table. If anybody has a question that you would like to submit, we will take those questions, give them to somebody in a yellow shirt, and they can give them to me. The forum is going to last an hour, so we are going to be limited on the questions that we can ask, but we will ask as many as we can within that hour. When the closing statements are done, the candidates will stay here and they'll be able to answer any questions. They have tables that are outside, which I think you may have seen, that have their literature, and so we hope you'll stop and talk to them in case there are any questions that you have that you'd like to ask them one-on-one that didn't get answered in the forum tonight. So let's go ahead and get started. I'd like to introduce the candidates for seat 4. We have Richard Arthur and Rory Diamond. And Rory actually won the toss. He's elected to kick off, and he will receive he will start out with the opening statement tonight, and he'll have 5 minutes. Oh, sorry, one other thing. For the opening statement, please take a moment to introduce yourself, explain why you're running for this office, and briefly describe your experience and qualifications for the position.
I had nothing else planned. Well, thank you, Sandy, and thank you, Beaches Watch, for hosting this event. And thank you, everyone who's here for showing up and being part of our democracy. I think these forums are essential to have an engaged and informed citizenry. My name is Rory Diamond. I live on Davis Street. With me in the audience today is my mother Barbara. She lives up the beach. My brother-in-law Bob, and right next to him are little Jillian and Kelton, my biggest supporters, and they live on Valley Forge North. We're all a bike ride away from each other. I can tell you without question the things that are the most important to me in the world are right here in Neptune Beach. And that's why for the last several years I've been sitting in the seats that you're in right now and attending all these city council meetings and the workshops and being part of our democracy here. It's also why for the last 7 months I've taken every weekend, I've gone out and walked the streets of Neptune Beach. I visited with every single neighborhood. I have knocked on just about every single door, and I've spoken with literally over 1,200 residents. And it has been an incredible opportunity. It's been fun because I've been able to have these unbelievable one-on-one conversations with our citizens where we talk about Neptune Beach, where we talk about what's going on in our community. We talk about how much we love Neptune Beach and those areas where we can improve. And the overwhelming feeling that I get from residents, without question, is that we all love our town, that it is a piece of paradise. And therefore, anybody who sits up here at this table, their #1 job is to preserve what we have, to make sure that our neighborhoods stay beautiful, that our communities are safe and friendly, and that this little town that we have continues to be a place where people want to raise their kids and where we feel comfortable making sure our parents, our moms and dads can retire. Now, while I've been walking, not everything people have to say about our town is great. There are areas where we can improve, and we can always improve, and we should strive to do so. The 3 biggest issues I've been focusing on and I've been hearing about from the residents are, 1, that it needs to be easier to improve and repair our homes. We are shackled with a municipal code, specifically Chapter 27, Article 18, that needs to be improved and updated because our homeowners want to invest their hard-earned money into their house, and if we allow them to do it, if the answer is more often yes, then everybody wins. We'll have higher property values, we will have more beautiful neighborhoods, and the city will have increased revenues. It's a win all around. #2, I'm focused on drainage. Drainage is not a sexy and exciting issue, but it's a long-term and very important one. And I believe we need to have a long-term strategic plan for capital investments in our drainage. For too long after the rain stops, our streets are underwater, our neighborhoods are encroached upon, and we have to be focused on this. On the flip side, everything that doesn't sink into the ground eventually makes its way into Hopkins Creek, and the more focus we have on drainage, the cleaner our creek can be. The 3rd issue is taxes and fees. I'm a fiscal conservative. I believe government should live within its means, and I think we ought to have taxes as low as possible without compromising our quality of life. I also think that I'm qualified for this job. I would not run for it if I didn't think I could do the job and represent you well. My first job at a college was working at the White House. I started on September 4th, 2001, and of course, the following week was a terrorist attack on 9/11, and on September 12th, they came to me and said, Rory, whatever you plan to do for the next year here at the White House, you're going to do something else. You're going to help us start this new Office of Homeland Security. And for 2 years, I served the President and worked on Homeland Security and other matters, and I learned firsthand every day that government, if it makes sense and it's run well and there's common sense guiding us, it can improve our lives. But as soon as we take our eye off the ball, government can get too big and not assist the residents. After that, I went to go work for Governor. My job was to get him ready for meetings and events, to go and learn about issues and prepare him to speak with other people about issues. And fortunately, I had a smart governor to work for. It was an easy job. Then I went to law school. I worked 2 jobs to pay my way through, and I finally graduated, went and worked at a law firm, and then ultimately I got my dream job as a federal prosecutor. The best cases I had were prosecuting corrupt public officials and the people who would bribe them. I can tell you that finding public servants with integrity is tough. They are few and far between, but we absolutely have to find them and have them in office. And I wouldn't be running for this office if I didn't think I had that level of integrity. Now I'm an attorney downtown. I represent local businesses like CSX, and I represent the Nemours Foundation. My community service, I'm a St. John's River Ferry ambassador. You will see me in the light blue shirt helping save our ferry. I'm on the board of Canines for Warriors, helping our returning warriors with PTSD. I'm a graduate of Leadership Jacksonville, and I serve on the Jacksonville Jury Oversight Committee, fighting crime in our high-risk areas. This is the experience, the focus, and dedication to our community that I'd like to bring to this job and to these seats right here. I would like the opportunity to share with you my vision of the city, and I appreciate your being here.
Richard Arthur?
All right, well, thank you, Sandy. First off, I want to thank my wife, who's been saving lives at Shands for 8 years, and recently mother of a 15-month-old child here now that's helped raising at home. Also like to thank Sandy, and again, I like to say, very rarely are we seen after 6 o'clock in the same place, so she does exist. She barely makes it out to our child. I'd like to thank you, Sandy, over the past 10 years, the dedication you've put into Beaches Watch to help inform the citizens of the area to make better decisions. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a 4th-generation native of the area. My grandfather was in the Army, orthopedic surgeon, ended up his career at VA downtown. My other grandfather was in the Navy, stationed at Mayport. My parents lived 20 blocks from here. My sister, 13-year tenured professor at UNF. My brother lives 4 blocks from me in Neptune Beach. He's the head brewer at Green Room in Jacksonville Beach. All that history and lineage has given me a great connection to the area, but it doesn't qualify me to run for this position again. It's my personal experiences and my dedication to the city that qualifies me. When I was 1 year old, my dad took the first job he did out of the Coast Guard, working on an aluminum plant in Bradenton, Florida. We lived at the end of the dirt road in a mobile home. We raised quail for food, had a dairy cow in the front yard. It was a pretty humble life. Shortly thereafter, my dad took up the opportunity and the risk with a family of 5 to move home back to Jacksonville and start his own business. The risk that so many small businesses take today. And when he moved back here to the area, I was in kindergarten and I was required to go to speech therapy because my southern accent was so strong no one could understand what I was saying. That hard work ethic was instilled in me in high school. My first job was riding my bike up here, working in town center, often riding home to the Hickson Surf Shop in the corner down here to see what was going on in the waves and the forecast before you could read it on the internet. Shortly thereafter, I graduated with a double majors in marketing and computer science. Worked in Raleigh, my first job. Shortly thereafter, I left with my boss to start our own internet startup company. And within a year, 6 employees, $2.9 million in revenue. Things were doing well. I missed the community I grew up in. We're 2 hours from the ocean, so I decided to move back home, take a position with UBS, get into finance. I was renting a house east of 3rd, working at finance, federally licensed in securities, which really gave me the opportunity to take a look at finance on a macro level, to look at the small changes that you can make in long term with effects on finances. Also really gave me the opportunity to work with families in financial planning. I could see the long-term effects with small changes in someone living on a fixed income and with inflation and taxes and municipal fees, how it really hurt them. Shortly after that, I migrated my way to a dream job where I can live and work at the beaches. Migrated into real estate, was working at Prudential Network Realty right here. Still renting a house east of 3rd, working in real estate. Living and working in the area, I really saw this area every day, the area I grew up in. And town center area with bars like Papa Joe's and things that are going on down there. I really want to be a part of a positive change. There's a lot of commercial blighted areas. So 10 years ago I decided to get involved. Becoming a volunteer on the Planning Development Review Board for 2 years. I was an alternate, going to every meeting, waiting to have my chance to sit in the meetings and vote. And after 6 years, I was chairing the board. I was elected from the board to chair the board and be the vice mayor, not the vice mayor, but I was actually ultimately chairing the board at the end of that, running and conducting the meetings. And over those 6 years, I learned a lot of mistakes from the city, a lot of challenges, the Walmart development order, the Atlantic sign issues. We went through the land use code, made recommendations to the city over ordinances and language over those 6 years. So learned a lot during that time frame. Shortly thereafter, still in real estate, I helped open the Keller Williams office in Jacksonville Beach. A few years later, went out on my own, opened my own office in Neptune Beach, had an office here, employees, right on A1A, had signage here, so started a small business here. So it was a good time. Shortly thereafter, like so many people in Neptune Beach, I ended up I was renting a house east of 3rd, and I purchased my first home here, west of 3rd. So over these past 4 years, we've had a lot of challenges with our finances. We're down $300,000 from 2006. We've contracted 15 employees from 2006 in the city. I've encouraged and a lot of positive changes in the city, working on the drainage issues, restoring a healthy reserve so we can get back to addressing our aging infrastructure. I appreciate the time to help explain further details. That's here. Thank you.
Okay, the first question is going to go to Richard Arthur, and you'll have 3 minutes. In your opinion, what are the 2 most important issues facing Neptune Beach, and how would you propose to address them? Please include how you would ensure adequate funding to address the issues.
I think one of the most important issues we'll face is our issue with our interlocal agreement over tipping fees. And I addressed this issue. I sat down with former Mayor Delaney, current resident of Neptune Beach, 4 years ago and had the same conversation. Has it been triggered with the interlocal agreement? Should we be paying tipping fees? And he said no, and he was representing the other side when the last amendment was drafted. Today, the city of Duval County 4 years ago, they've been charging us nearly $200,000 for the past 4 years. They say we owe them $600,000. It's not only about the money, it's their independence or sovereignty that they're challenging. Just when their budget's shortfalls, it doesn't mean they can come out to Neptune Beach to try to balance their budget. As I stated 4 years ago, and I still state today, I don't think that we've been triggered in the agreement to pay the tipping fee of the Trail Ridge landfill. So that issue will continue to fight it. I don't agree that that's been triggered, that we owe it. So again, we'll continue to fight that in the interlocal agreement. There's other things in there, animal control services that we pay. Over the past 10 years, it's been $900,000. There's many arguments and issues in the interlocal agreement that we'll address now that Duval is coming out and looking for money. They think they can just come out here, open it up, and start pulling it from us. That's not the case. I'll continue to fight, as I've the past 4 years, to make sure that we maintain our financial independence and sovereignty. Another issue I've been working on for many years in the city is our aging infrastructure. We have old Orangeburg clay pipes. It's just a time bomb waiting to happen. And when I got into office 4 years ago, there was 0 in the water sewer reserves, which is a very risky financial position to be in. So it's taken nearly 4 years to get those up to over 20%. We have 6 months of operating reserves in that fund, which has allowed us to really readdress our water sewer infrastructure projects. Road paving can resume, addressing our water sewer in different areas like the Bow Harbor, so we can get back on a track of maintaining our infrastructure. If we stop, we miss 2, 3, 4 years, it's just a time bomb waiting to happen, and there's not enough residents in the city just to go back out and increase millage rates to tax to pay for what the issues that we have going. So maintaining a solid infrastructure is the biggest challenge, and one of the biggest challenges coming up in the next 4 years that I intend to address and make sure that we don't run into problems down the road.
Rory?
The 2 biggest issues I think that Neptune Beach will face over the next 4 years are home improvements, and I agree with Richard, the importance of the interlocal agreement and standing up for Neptune Beach's sovereignty. Talking about home improvements first, going out and walking door to door at Neptune Beach, talking to all these residents, over 1,200 now, I will tell you there is a demand in Neptune Beach for people to invest their hard-earned money into their most important asset, their home. Right now, the code, unfortunately, I believe is outdated and is not sufficiently homeowner friendly. In particular, in Chapter 27, Article 18, which talks about non-conforming structures, it makes it too difficult for someone who owns their home that perhaps is not up to the current code as it is today to just do simple repairs. I'll give you an example. I talked to a gentleman who lives at the end of Cherry Street over by the ocean, and he has a new single-family home that he bought. It was the first home he had bought for his family, and he was thrilled about it. There is a second-floor balcony on that home, and he wanted to repair a falling down deck. It was rotted to its core, it was dangerous, and he just wanted to fix it. And he did what anybody would have done. He went to the city, he got a permit, and he went out there and hired a contractor who picked up the boards and did it the most logical way. And how do you fix a falling down deck? You take out all the boards, and you take out all the joists, and you replace them with new joists and new boards. Unfortunately, the city had to follow the rules, had to follow the code as is currently written, and said, nope, you cannot do that. You cannot put it back because it was a non-conforming structure to begin with. So instead, you had to do it joist by joist, piece by piece. Take out the rotten piece, hold it up with something else, fix the joist, do the next one. It would have tripled the cost to do it that way. Over and over again, there are decks, there are issues with roofs and fences that are non-conforming structures. There's accessory structures that are non-conforming, that the code makes difficult and expensive to replace or fix or improve. I would, as an attorney, go into Chapter 27 and assist the city with rewriting it. I'm giving you something today that you probably never happen the rest of your life, a free lawyer. I will do whatever I can to get in there and fix it. Otherwise, the city's going to have to pay a city attorney to do it. And we have a spectacular city attorney, in my opinion. But he does charge us by the hour. And I will do it for free, going piece by piece with community input and fix our code so that it's more homeowner friendly. As I said before, if we can unleash this pent-up demand to improve our town, then we can increase our tax base and we can increase the quality of life here. I'm sure we'll have another chance to address the interlocal agreement, but as an attorney, it is my opinion that we do not owe a penny under the interlocal agreement and that we need to stand up strong against the bully that is Jacksonville. These disputes go all the way back to 1968 when consolidation first started, and I believe that with some intelligent legal maneuvering, Neptune Beach can maintain its sovereignty and not have to pay a single penny under the interlocal agreement. And more importantly, we get the money back that Jacksonville owes us.
Okay, this question, there are actually two separate questions, one for Rory and one for Richard. So we'll start with Rory. And this is a neighborhood question.
Sure.
Rory, you live east of 3rd Street and will be elected to represent everyone in Neptune Beach. What are the issues west of 3rd Street you would work to address, and how would you address them?
Well, I love walking west of 3rd Street. It is spectacular. The neighborhoods are incredible, and the reception I've received out there has been really surprising. Like I said, I've talked to over 1,200 residents. I can tell you out of those 1,200, about 800 west of 3rd, and I can tell you how many jerks I've talked to. Maybe 2 at the most, and that's a testament to the kind of city that we live in. The issues I see west of 3rd is to make it and keep it the way it is. It is filled with beautiful neighborhoods, unbelievable trees, Hopkins Creek. Our focus west of 3rd is to keep it and preserve it. One of the ways we can preserve it is by focusing on Hopkins Creek, to have a holistic strategy to preserve the marsh, to keep it clean, and to make sure it stays the way it is for future generations. The second thing we can do west of 3rd is to make sure that the integrity of our neighborhoods stay the way they are. If you drive around west of 3rd, if you look at Richard's neighborhood, it's single-family homes by and large. It's young families and retirees, people who want to keep their neighborhood safe and friendly. The way you do that is make sure that they stay single-family homes, that they stay well-policed, and we make sure that the integrity of those neighborhoods is never corrupted. You can only look in other places in Jacksonville that used to have beautiful neighborhoods. And I believe the city of Jacksonville and the local community kind of took their eye off the ball. And in an instant, a neighborhood that is safe, that is filled with nice families, can turn around, and it does this spiral where one house goes, then the next, and it's an exodus. And all of a sudden, what was a nice neighborhood is no longer. We have to keep our eye on the ball by policing and keeping the integrity of those neighborhoods.
Okay, Richard, you live west of 3rd Street and will be elected to represent everyone in Neptune Beach. What are the issues east of 3rd Street you would work to address, and how would you address them?
Actually, I think I lived east of 3rd for many, many years. So actually maybe longer than Roy had over there. But the issues that we see over there, and you mentioned property owner on Cherry Street was Jim LaPetrie, and I helped assist him. Was it a repair or a replacement? Ultimately, the city looked at it as a repair and was allowed to repair his deck on it when they wanted to replace the joist hangers. And I think it's good that Roy's getting out in the city and seeing the area, meeting the people. And I've been out in the city for 26 years and meeting people the past 10 years. 4 years ago, I walked every house in the city. I'm doing that again now. East of 3rd, you've got dilapidated rental units. You've got issues with density. You have drainage issues. You have people that are frustrated with the code enforcement process. You have people frustrated with the variance process, non-conforming homes, non-conforming lots. And I've been dealing with non-conforming lots and the issues for 10 years, being in real estate, working on a plan development review board. There's several specific things we can do to help homeowners in that area. And there's homeowners that are buying a home built in 1930 prior to the city was incorporated. Their home has become non-conforming due to the laws as they've changed over time. I'd support an overlay that would allow these people more freedom with their homes to improve their property. We're at a crucial point where the investors, the prices right now are becoming to a point where it's more attractive for a homeowner than an investor, and that's where we want to be. And the frustration is right now that I know that there's properties out there, I know brokers that are selling properties that buyers are willing to purchase them, but they don't want to deal with the issues that have with a non-conforming property. There's specific things we can do with a 50% impervious surface. There's technologies out there with 100% impervious pavers. We need to define the process, allow the homeowners to use them so they can take out these old 1930s and 50s cracked up pavement that's over 50% impervious surface, allow them to install the 100% impervious pavers, and it's a zero calculation against their impervious surface coverage. It's going to allow for better drainage and improve the area, allow people to go to new driveways, take out the old ones. So I support, I mean, there's specific language we can do. And the idea that someone would go through 3,500 pages of the code at once and rewrite it all at once, I think is a little disingenuous. There's a process in place that we've been following, every municipality has. And I've done it for 10 years on the boards, and that you take apart each section, you look at it, what are the issues, how can we change it? It goes to staff, it comes back, it goes to the workshop, it goes to city council, city attorney takes a look at it, and it's a revolving process. It's just like street paving. You pave it this year, you're going to come back in 25 years. We're always going through the code and updating the code. As issues arise, you know, like a corner lot this year, previously you couldn't put a 6-foot fence on the side yard. That didn't make sense, so we changed it. So now you can have a 6-foot fence on the side yard. When we redid the right-of-way ordinance, I made sure that the growing height isn't limited to a certain height. If there's no underground utilities and you're not blocking a view, I wanted to make sure that we encourage people to beautify the city. So we're constantly going through the code and updating the code. There's a process in place. We have a great city attorney that helps us. And I think someone from the city should represent the people to make that change.
Okay, this next question will start with Richard. The town center has a severe parking shortage. What would you propose to address the lack of adequate parking?
And that's a great problem to have. Like I said, I started on the Plan and Development Review Board 10 years ago, which was the commercial variance board. And we looked at the dilapidated spaces down there. Sorry, I'll speak up for you, BJ. So as we've improved the area, it's only grown and the parking conditions have grown worse. We have to work with the landowners down there that control the parking to improve the spaces down there. I think we can do a better job with the valet service that we have and uniform it so there's one service, one designated drop-off. You drop off, you get off in town center, you know where you are, there's a map where you are. There's safety issues that come along with the valet service now. We have money in our street and road improvement funds for downtown that I think we can utilize to remove. There's several parking spaces out there that are underutilized. There's one that I know specifically that has a telephone pole serving one house that doesn't need it. That can be removed. That's an extra parking space. When it rains, there's drainage issues down there that we lose half our parking spaces. People don't want to park in these places. It's 2 feet sitting underwater. So the drainage issues will help increase the parking down there during the storm event. Remove, I can think of 3 right off the top of my head that would increase parking by at least 3 spaces that are required down there. Improve our valet process so it's uniform, so there's not 2 competing ones down there. And there is additional parking that we can use right behind the Loop Shopping Center on there along the street there where the shrubbery is. There's additional parking that we could put in there to add additional parking in the area. I think working with Town Center Agency and the Merchants Association so that we can put a uniform process for the employees that they're not parking in the area to make sure that, I mean, that's a big part of the problem down there. If everyone can get on board with the Merchants Association to make a pact to say that they're going to park off-site, but it only increases the number of parking for the people that are going to visit. So another part of that, I think, is uniform our code so we know with Atlantic Beach and Neptune Beach, you don't have signs across the street that say, 30-minute parking when they're only going to come right across the street and park in our area. And I do not support the no parking signs that the private enterprises have put up in the area. I think those should come down. I think everyone needs to work together. It only confuses people. I think the towing issue and the spotters out there is a very bad idea. It sends the wrong message in the community. So getting rid of that, taking down the signs that say no parking for only specific businesses, I support very much. And then getting rid of the spotters that are jumping out of the bushes and looking for people's receipts to making sure that they park in the right area. Like I said, it's bad for business long term. It confuses people. It doesn't provide a welcoming environment for people to come down and park and enjoy the area.
Rory?
The parking issue in Town Center is not a new issue. It did not pop up in the last 6 months. You're all Neptune Beach residents. You know that parking downtown center has been an issue that's been plaguing us for quite some time. And Richard has some great ideas, and over the last 4 years, we could have employed some of those, absolutely. But I think this is not a 1 or 2 parking spot issue. It is a major overall issue, and we have to take it on with a long-term plan and with vision. Now, I sat down in front of the Jacksonville Chamber of Commerce Beaches Division. We both did, and we talked about our vision for Neptune Beach and how do we improve our town center, how do we improve our parking. And I'm proud to say that the Jacksonville Chamber issued me their endorsement, and it's because I shared with them a vision for our town center that included a comprehensive parking plan. First of all, I think we got to look at that Kmart parking center where the Ace Hardware is leaving and see it as a gem that needs to be taken advantage of. It is an enormous surface, and we're not nearly using the parking that is there sufficiently enough. The second is, as Jacksonville Beach is looking at right now, I think we have to talk about a public structure. Cities all across America build public parking structures. They do it with the expectation that they'll charge for parking. I don't think we should do it in town center, but I think we can do it close enough that we can address the major issue of parking. Third, I think we need to charge tourists for parking. Not residents, but tourists. We can raise money for the city. We can pay for our parking improvements. We can pay for our parking structure. But we have to have a revenue stream. Moving some bushes or taking down some signs doesn't affect the enormous problem of parking. Anybody who was here tonight had that issue unless you rode a bike or you walked. The other issues, I think we need to at least address the fact that our events need to be scheduled in such a way that they're not huge overlays. And in addition, our police, which are working very hard and are doing a spectacular job monitoring our city, need to have the ability to use their powers to create new parking areas in our public areas. So that's, I mean, it's not a complicated issue. We need more parking spaces, a lot of them. The path to get there takes vision, it takes thoughtfulness, and it takes a financial plan that makes sense, and that's dependent upon raising money off of parking and using the facilities that we have, but also looking at the areas like the Kmart parking lot and looking at other spots where we can actually have a public structure.
Okay, this next question will start with Rory. Are there any crime and public safety issues you would like to address, and how would you propose to address them?
You're asking a former federal prosecutor if he wants to talk about crime and safety. Absolutely. When I was a federal prosecutor, we didn't just go out and prosecute crimes. We looked at whole neighborhoods to try and find ways to do what we called impactful prosecutions, to go and take down drug kingpins, which then you could improve an entire neighborhood. And I've seen it happen. With smart policing, you can take a crime-riddled area and turn it around completely. But it takes a really thoughtful plan. It takes a lot of effort. Fortunately, in Neptune Beach, we don't have neighborhoods like that. But if we take our eye off the ball, it could very easily happen. Now, having walked all these neighborhoods over and over again, I can tell you west of 3rd, we have a pretty safe community. I mean, the kids play in the front yards west of 3rd. They're not forced to go into the backyards. And so I think over there we're doing okay. East of 3rd, anybody who lives in Neptune Beach knows on our big holiday weekends we have an issue. Crime is flowing up from Jacksonville Beach. Now, I love our sister cities without question, and I don't want to cast aspersions on them, but they had a serious issue during Memorial Day in 2013. They had to literally shut down their entire downtown and turn it into a police state and shut down every single building and every single business. That was massive. And it was a wake-up call to anyone in Neptune Beach to say, you know, there, but for the grace of God, go I. We absolutely have to watch what's going down in the south part of Neptune Beach and to see what is flowing at 1st Street. Now, I live on 1st Street. I watch the people go up all day long, and I think it's spectacular. I love our big holiday weekends. I mean, pound for pound, Neptune Beach celebrates the 4th of July better than anywhere else in America. I'm convinced of it. But, you know, with that popularity comes all these people flowing in from other places. The people who cause problems, I don't think, are Neptune residents. There are people coming from out of town. There are people coming up from Jacksonville Beach. And I think that we did a good job this last 4th of July, keeping a strong eye and having a good police presence. But the importance there is to have smart, intelligent planning for our holiday weekends. The other thing, talking to Chief Sembach, and we've got a spectacular police department in Neptune Beach. If you call 911 anywhere in Neptune Beach, you will have a police cruiser at your house in 90 seconds. I don't know anywhere else where you can do that. So we have a really great resource here. But community policing is how we ensure that our neighborhood doesn't turn. We're keeping an eye on drug houses, and there are drug houses on 1st Street. I've seen them myself. And we have to have a strong connection or relationship with JSO and ensure that their vice squad is aware of where we're having issues. And I think that one by one, we should look at the drug houses on First Street. They make me nervous, and I think they're a direct threat. So if we're talking about a specific issue, I would say these drug houses on First Street. But generally speaking, our strong community policing on, west of Third, and keeping up what we're doing on our big holiday weekends.
Richard?
I just want to confirm, a portion of our minutes we can use to address some of the prior comments, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, just real quick, on the parking issues, Kmart, anyone can park there today. People can park there now. We've looked at parking garages in the past. There's many things in the ideas that we've looked at in the past. Horrible return, nowhere to put it, and for taxing or charging tourists, I'm not sure if you get the Town Center Merchants Association buy-in on that, and since you're going to charge essentially their customers that are coming in there, very hard to define. Not sure how that would work out, and that's coming from a small business owner in Neptune Beach. I've started and run there. On the public safety side of things, we have a great public safety system. Recently on a ride-along with Sergeant Pike, now the senior officer in the city of 30 years service, you could really see how much he cared for the community. He knows everyone on the streets. He knows what's going on in everyone's lives. He knows the family members, the kids that have grown up in the area. And that's something you lose in a lot of towns today. Our biggest issues that we have are our ability to expand and contract as these events come up, whether it's Thanksgiving Day from Pete's, 200 First Street, the town center party that they put on, Dancing in the Streets, 4th of July, next year coming up on a Saturday. It's our ability to expand with these events that is our biggest issue that we have right now. And sure, you can throw money at it. This year we paid $20,000 extra for extra JSO officers. And the city, Duval used to give us extra support. They used to give us mounted police. We used to have police officers on motorcycles. And that's gradually going away, and it's becoming more and more on us. And I think we should, these fees that we're charging and that we're incurring, I think we should be able to go back to Duval County and they should be paying for these things. Because these people are not just from Neptune Beach for these events. So with these events, I think one of the biggest issues we've had are the logistics with them. If we only have, for example, 12 officers on duties and someone gets the DUI, the officer has to make a decision. Do I need to go downtown and book this person for 4 to 6 hours? We need to have better logistics in place so we can take them to a staging station in either Regency or Jacksonville Beach, so they can be taken to a paddy wagon similar to a Jacksonville Jaguar game, taken downtown and booked remotely. That way that officer is back on the streets. They can make a decision, this person needs to be arrested. I can do this in 30 minutes and not 4 to 6 hours. So it's really the logistics that would provide better exposure for officers on the streets. 4th of July, I think we did a very good job this year moving the traffic through the streets. We've got 4 new officers coming on the streets, and I think we should look back into our bicycle programs. I saw them in the station a couple of weeks ago. They look like they're from the 70s, and I don't even think they would throw the new guys on them just for fun. And I asked them, how much do you think it would cost for the new bicycles and the uniforms and total outfit? It's probably around $2,500, and that's a lot of money to the city. Anytime you go to Jim Jarvis, city manager, you talk about $2,500, that's like $2.5 million. So I think with a small investment, I think we could probably raise it and get the bicycles back on the streets for these events.
Okay, this next question, we will start with Richard. There's been a lot of speculation about the future of the large commercial property that currently houses Kmart. What do you think would be the best use of this property should it become available?
Well, first of all, we need to connect the land bridge between the shopping centers. I think it's the #1 priority in the negotiations with the developer that comes in there. We've been asking for it for years. It's 2 private owners. I think we should encourage everything we can to make it happen. If the center is torn down, there's a 60,000 box fan with the center. They're on a development order. They can build 1 unit under 60,000 square feet. I think we should encourage developers to come in here to look at a mixed-use community. I would encourage office retail on the bottom with some sort of residential up top to reduce the parking requirements, people driving in the area. There's also a landlocked 2 acres behind there, the zoned bird sanctuary that the city has no access to. And I think that should be part of the negotiations with someone, that if they need to tear down that area and it's a mixed-use development, which I think would be the best use of the area, where you have a residential in a certain area, it would allow us to open up those 2 acres back there, which is it's a great old-growth oak area to the citizens. To provide another park, the residents could use it, and just be part of the negotiations with the developer. It'd be a win-win, I think, for everyone to get in that. So I think mixed-use development, opening up the land bridge, what I would call it, next door with the Regency Centers groups that owns the shopping center next door. And at all costs, whatever we can do to try to unlock that 2 acres that's vacant, open it up to the citizens, open it up to everyone in there, I think would be a win-win for everyone.
Rory?
The issue with this center is about having a vision for the future for our city. I mean, we've heard tonight that we've looked at parking structures, but yeah, they're not going to work for Neptune Beach. We've also heard that we've got this incredible place to have a new mixed-use facility. We have a carrot to offer any developer in Neptune Beach at that location. You want to come here, you want to build something beautiful, you want to make a lot of money in our community, we need help with parking. Number one negotiating item needs to be to help us with parking in the town center. And we can do that with that position, with that place. That's why it was part of my answer. Kmart's going to be gone, Ace Hardware is going to be gone, the structure's likely to be torn down, and there's going to be a blank piece of paper. And we need to have a vision for what the future of Neptune Beach is going to look like there. And part of that has to be to improve our parking. Part of that has to be to improve housing for Neptune Beach, and so that we can actually make money off the property taxes there. We also need to have a say in what kind of businesses move in there. Now, Walmart made a big play into Neptune Beach, and the community got together and fought off Walmart. Now, Walmart wants to come back, and they want to have a smaller facility there. Well, we're going to have an intelligent conversation about finding that all. We're deciding if Neptune Beach wants to finally capitulate and have a smaller Walmart. That's the question we're going to have to answer. I personally pose it. So the thoughts for the future of Neptune Beach and that particular piece of land is the most important thing I think the folks up here are going to talk about. We need to be intelligent about it. There has to be a cohesive plan for all of Neptune Beach, and I think we really need to address both our property tax value issues and our parking there.
Okay, this next question we will start with Rory. You've had the opportunity to talk about several things tonight. Are there any other issues you would like to address if elected?
I think the most important issue for any elected official is that they have integrity. The most important issue whenever I vote is there any issue this candidate wouldn't sell out to get elected? I look over and over again, and I go up with my sample ballot, which I got yesterday, and said, is this somebody I can trust? If they tell me X, are they going to do X in office? I asked it over and over and over again. And when I prosecuted politicians who were on the graft, ones who were corrupt, when I prosecuted the people who would bribe them, it was something that sickened me. And so I would not be sitting here today if I didn't think the most important issue for anyone sitting here is to have integrity. I think we have an incredible mayor and multiple members of our city council. Kara's here, actually everybody's here, the whole gang, and I'm impressed with the dedication that the people have to our city. No question. But integrity is what I ask everyone to look for. To me, that's the number one issue every time you vote.
Richard?
Could you repeat the question? I want to make sure that I address the question.
You've had the opportunity to talk about several things tonight. Are there any other issues you'd like to address if elected?
Yeah, I mean, I have several pages of issues to be addressed. And jumping real quick back to, I've worked with developers. Look at the way Town Center has progressed over the past 10 years. And I'd like to say I've had a part in helping maintain, the beautification of that area and getting quality tenants in there. Going to a developer and asking them, let's throw a $4 million parking garage on the table, you're going to get a strange reaction out of them as far as what we have to offer for them to put that in the mix for what they want to see. As far as the issues upcoming and things we haven't discussed, and there's many things. I think we need to initiate commercial recycling in Town Center. We can do a better job of communicating with our citizens. One of the issues I had was on the citizens portal recently initiated on the website, and that was something I had put in there specifically because unless a citizen came down to City Hall and complained in front of City Council or sent an email to the city manager, no one knew the experience that they had with the building department or planning and zoning or the code enforcement officer that came out there. So now we have a structured way and metrics in place that we can see anyone can sign in, they can send in a complaint anonymous, they can send it in themselves. So we have metrics that we can track which department it goes to, how long it takes for them to respond to it, what the common complaints are coming in. So we can actually, look, like I said, look over the metrics, see how it's handled, how long it takes to be handled, and see all the people that we haven't heard from in the community. What are the issues? Over the past 10 years, I've been hearing from people out there, but those are only people that I go out and personally meet, the people that come to City Hall. So I think we could do a better job of communication with the city and the citizens as far as the experiences they have. I think we need to maintain a database of emails within the city. We used to have cast a line that would go out in the mailers, and because of budget cuts, we don't send it out anymore. You can get it on the city website, but a lot of people don't go out there to get it. So it's a real easy fix just to maintain a database of the people that move in and out of our city, and we can email it out to them. And we have a new tenant that moves into the city, they sign up for a water bill, we get their email, we can send them the commonly addressed issues, the parking, the noise ordinance, the trash, everything that the homeowner, the tenant should know, everything that the landlord should be telling them when they move to the city, but they often don't. So many things we can do. I encourage you to take a look at my website. We don't have time in 3 minutes to go through them all to address all the issues I'd like to hit on over the next 4 years.
Okay, this next question, we'll start with Richard. This question is about food trucks. The Neptune Beach City Council recently voted to allow food trucks in Neptune Beach. What is your opinion regarding allowing food trucks, and is there anything that you would change?
Food trucks, and I looked into this probably a couple of years ago. Chris Dickerson, he used to run Corner Taco, used to be at Lemon Bar, and then he went out on his own, had his own food truck, put it in front of me and said, how can we do this in Neptune Beach? Very challenging. I got a language from Jacksonville Beach. And the challenge is, with the proximity, the number one challenge is our parking that we have down here, the proximity to other restaurants in the area. It's going to be a real challenge in town center. I do agree that, and we made recent changes in the code, that if a private citizen wants a food truck for catering purposes, they want to have an event in their house the 4th of July and they have a food truck there, that's fine. The homeowner's going to pay for the food truck. They're not going to do open vendor sales. It's just part of the event. Food trucks are a growing population, and it's an amenity, and I think it's a good thing. In the commercial area, I think that food trucks should be allowed for catering purposes. Like in the library events, they needed a food truck out there. They wanted one out there, and I think we should allow them under a special event permit for food trucks to be there. In the central business district, recently Sliders wants to use a food truck. And I don't have a problem if they want to use a food truck for catering purposes. They want to have an event at Sliders for their employees. They can bring in a food truck. It's going to add a little bit more issues on the parking down there. I realize that, I understand it. But if a restaurant wants to use a food truck for catering purposes, not open vendor sales, I think that's okay. You could run into the problem if you wanted open vendors. You could have vendors setting up in the region's parking lot doing open sales. Increasing the parking issues, I don't think that's a good idea. So I support food trucks. I think it's a great movement. I think because of how tight we are in town center, I don't think it should be allowed for open vendor sales in our area.
Rory?
I love food trucks. 2 of my neighbors have been running them. I will tell you, I think they sell great food. It presents an interesting challenge for Neptune Beach, of course, because we have a parking issue, which we've addressed over and over again here in town center. But let me say 2 things. First, I don't think that it ought to take a special permit to have a food truck outside of town center. It seems perfectly reasonable to me that if a business person wants to sell something in an area where it makes sense, it's not going to cause safety problems, to absolutely allow them to do it. It was a travesty, I think, that we had such a problem getting one for the library event. They were trying to raise money and do a good thing for the library and for the folks who were working there. It should have been a no-brainer, an easy yes. Fortunately, the city and our city manager jumped on it. But in the future, I don't think it should take coming down to City Hall to be able to do that. I think it also makes sense that private property owners can use their private property as they see fit. And if they want to park a food truck on it and give out food or sell food to their friends or to their relatives or to their patrons or to those who are donating to a charity, then they absolutely should be able to do it. It's a property rights issue at that point. And the third thing I would say is that we do need to watch about it in town center. We don't want to compound our parking problems. But our default answer should be yes. This is a private property issue. It's about giving the folks what they want and what the businesses will support.
Okay, so we're now going to wrap up with closing statements, and we'll start with Rory, and you'll have 5 minutes.
Well, first of all, I know you're all probably itching to get out of here. It's been a while, but I certainly appreciate your attention, and the fact that you're here means that you're engaged and you care about our town. The 1,200 or so folks that I've talked to going door to door, they're like you. They care about what's going on. They don't have the time necessarily to be in this room for every single city council meeting, and they're looking for someone to represent them day after day, who's going to do the homework, who's got the focus, who's got the vision, and who's got the time to really give to Neptune Beach. I absolutely love this city. I want to sit here, I want to represent you, I want to give it my all to make Neptune Beach, which is already great, even better. 4 years is a long time. 4 years is enough time to come back to you and say, this is what I got done. These are my concrete accomplishments. I've done something with the 4 years you gave me. I'm asking you to give me that chance, to give me 4 years to go and get something done. And I absolutely, you may disagree with me, you may think I'm crazy, but I promise you, I will always do my homework. I will always tell you the truth. I will operate with integrity, and I'll do what's best for Neptune Beach. And I do appreciate your attention.
Richard?
Well, I hope you always tell the truth. I don't know if I need to say that as part of the closing statement. I think it's assumed. But over the past 4 years, there have been a lot of changes. You know, I got married. I have a 15-month-old. I accepted a position as the largest private employer in Jacksonville, Crowley, where I manage a monthly budget larger than the city's yearly budget. And I really think for this position, it should be someone from the community that understands the community, that's been here, that's seen what's been tried, seen what's failed, seen the ordinances that work, the issues with the ordinances that are out there, the failing codes, etc. You know, I've grown up here. I've worked in Sound Center in high school. I came back here. I've rented a house east of 3rd. I'm a landlord and I own property here. I'm a homeowner here. I have a child in school here. I've been a small business owner here. And I've been on the Planning Development Review Board for 6 years, City Council for 4 years. I bring all that perspective to the decisions that I've made, and really from a small business aspect, you know, how can we lead the city in the right direction? There's been a lot of positive changes over the past 4 years, and it's been a real challenge. Health insurance has increased by 50% for all the employees over the past years. And myself, I used to sell life insurance. Look at our risk pool. When do we need to quote it back out to really manage those crises that we've had? Declining budgets over the past couple of years. How do we make best use with our tax dollars? And I've been tried and tested over the past couple of years. I didn't just go out and look to raise the user fees, increase the millage rate on everyone to deal with an issue that we had. I've used my small business experiences to help manage the city with the issues that we've had. And we've had a lot of successes. I was at the first meeting for the Green Market and the Community Garden when we met at Fletcher, and they wanted to put it on the other side of Jarborough Park, and I was, you know, a good friend of Gretchen that helped start that, the community garden, the green market. So we've seen a lot of wins and successes over the past couple of years. Again, I think the position, like I said, I've been dedicated to the city for 10 years. I've been on many boards. I've been volunteering for dancing in the streets. Volunteered for 10 years at the beer tent. Finally this year I got upgraded to the brick sales. So I know it's been Harriet's tent for years. But I think someone as a member of the community just knows things like how the Pete's Thanksgiving Day event is. We don't want to see it go away. The city paid a certain amount of money last year just to make sure it happens. You know, I know from just growing up here how important events are like that to the area and how important these things are. So again, I think someone from the area that knows the community and provide the business aspects to help manage the city through these crises. And I appreciate your vote 4 years ago and again this time. Thank you.
Have fun.
Thank you.
So before everybody goes, I would just like to say a few things. I want to thank Mayor Harriet Pruitt and the City of Neptune Beach for allowing us to have the forum here tonight in City Hall. And also I want to thank the Beaches Watch volunteers who helped organize tonight's forum. I want to remind you that we are recording this and we will have it on our website hopefully tomorrow because it takes a while to upload it to YouTube. But we also have the questions that the candidates have answered in writing that will be on our website later tonight, so you can go and look at those. And then finally, I just want to remind you all that early voting starts October 20th, goes till November 2nd, and then voting is November 4th. And again, thank these candidates for their desire to serve our community, and thank them for being here tonight, and I thank you all as well.